What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing back at you again. Today's topic: everyone seems to want the Fury Wilder trilogy except for Deontay Wilder. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? The life before riches, huh? The life before riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glizzy, run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fans, we have a lot to chop up today. And the topic today is the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury trilogy that was supposed to happen on December 19th. And from all accounts, it looks like that fight is not going to happen. Okay, this is what we're hearing in the media right now, that Tyson Fury is looking past Deontay Wilder and looking forward to setting up a fight in for December 5th, and then after that, looking to start working on setting up the fight for the two fights with Anthony Joshua that's been reported in the media that they agreed to. Okay, so this is what's going on with this Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury situation as far as the latest news, rumors, etc., etc. So it looks like Tyson Fury, from report that we have been hearing, we know that this fight was supposed to have been the trilogy in this Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder situation. They had two fights previously. The first fight was a draw. The second fight, Tyson Fury stopped Deontay Wilder in brutal fashion, and there's supposed to be a third fight. Okay, now that fight was supposed to have been in July, after Deontay Wilder activated the rematch clause that they signed, and the fight was supposed to happen in July, but due to the pandemic, that was not feasible, and so they pushed the fight off supposedly until November, I heard. I mean, that's what Tyson Fury's camp is saying. So Tyson Fury camp basically said that, or Tyson Fury basically said that they postponed the fight until November, which he agreed to. And then when November came, they postponed it again to December, and he agreed to that. From November, I don't know what date it was November, but he said the fight was supposed to be November, and then he requested another postponement for until December. And so he agreed to the December postponement or rescheduling, okay? And he said now they want to reschedule the fight. That is Deontay Wilder's camp. They want to reschedule the fight for February. And Tyson Fury is saying, no, that's enough. He's agreed to two different rescheduling already. He's not going to agree to a third one. He wants to fight. He's been training since February. And he wants to fight in December. Whether he fights Deontay Wilder or whoever, it doesn't really matter. He wants to fight. He's not going to not fight because Deontay Wilder's camp want to postpone the fight, reschedule the fight for a third time. So this is what we're hearing from Deontay Wilder's camp. Tyson Fury's camp. Now, Shelly Finkel, who's Deontay Wilder's manager, had came out and said that no, the fight is going to be in December. Okay, he came out and said that like 2 days ago that the fight is on, and the fight will be in December. But from everything that we're seeing so far, it looks like Tyson Fury is basically moving on, and he's making plans to set up a fight in December, and he's even talking about opponents that he has in mind for this fight. So now, like I said, Deontay Wilder's manager, Shelly Finkel, came out and said that no, the fight is definitely on, regardless of what Tyson Fury and his camp is saying. But the elephant in the room is that We haven't heard from Deontay Wilder. I mean, nothing, not even a peep. I mean, this is, Deontay Wilder has been quiet ever since he got, uh, stopped by Tyson Fury. We haven't heard anything from him since then. I mean, Deontay Wilder usually talks a lot. I mean, bomb squad and this and that. But we haven't heard anything from him since he lost to Tyson Fury. He's been quiet, quiet as a lamb, basically. And he did come out once and, was talking about his bicep that he injured, and that was in April. He injured his bicep and he wasn't training at that time. But since then, he came out in September and said that, or there were reports in September that, supposedly from his camp, saying that he was in fantastic shape and he was ready to go. But again, we haven't heard anything from Deontay Wilder, in relation to that, or in reference to him, being ready for the fight, or even if he even wants to fight. So at this point, I think it's safe for us to say that, it looks like Deontay Wilder doesn't really want this fight in December, and based on his silence, I mean, because if he really wanted to fight, I mean, and, Tyson Fury's camp was coming out and saying they get ready, they're tired of waiting, they want to fight in December, or, they're going to just keep it moving, then why wouldn't Deontay Wilder come out and say, well, no, I want this fight. We're going to have this fight. We're going to have the fight in December. Now, there's a lot of people out there, from different channels on YouTube, the usual suspects, okay, the LDBC. They're out there talking about Tyson Fury ducking Wilder, and he's ducking they're saying that Tyson Fury and AJ is ducking Wilder. So this is the new narrative that this guy is out there in the LDBC is spinning right now. Okay, and it's basically nonsense. I mean, there's nothing to that. It's just talk. Basically, these guys are just spinning narrative like they usually do, and so the narrative that they're spinning, about Tyson Fury trying to duck Deontay Wilder when there's nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, as a matter of fact, Tyson Fury is saying that he wants to fight. I mean, Tyson Fury is telling anybody that will listen that he wants to fight in December. And it seems like it's, Deontay Wilder's camp who's trying to postpone the fight. As a matter of fact, based on what Tyson Fury has said, it was Deontay Wilder's camp that made requested the two postponement, the one for November and the one for December. And now they want to, postpone it, the fight again until February of next year. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about this fight, and about whether or not they could have the fight in front of a crowd or not or whatever. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of fights going on in December. So there's no reason why this fight can't happen in December between the Trilogy can't happen in December between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. So I'm not sure, and I don't really understand why we're not hearing anything from Deontay Wilder, okay, talking about this rematch, okay. I mean, we heard this camp come out and said, Shelly Finkel came out and said, no, the fight is going to be in December, but it doesn't look like it. It looked like Tyson Fury has moved on, and basically he's saying that the rematch clause expired. Okay, now Tyson Fury is not saying he's never going to fight Deontay Wilder if they don't fight in December. He's basically saying that he's going to move on with his career. And then maybe sometime down the line, Deontay Wilder, if he's ready, they can fight again after he, build himself back up. Because at the end of the day, Deontay Wilder took a brutal beating from Tyson Fury. Okay, and I mean, there's questions as to whether or not, as far as I can see, based on his silence and him not saying anything, I mean, I think we can, really ask the question, will Deontay Wilder ever fight again? I mean, maybe Deontay Wilder decided that he wants to retire, and he's not, he doesn't know how to come out and say that. He doesn't, want to come out and say it right now, or maybe he has decided that, he's tired of, having lost his title. There's, no point now, to him still staying in boxing, and maybe he has decided that, he wants to hang up the glove. I mean, I wouldn't really blame him, because I don't think there's going to be anything different in a third fight with Fury. I mean, even though supposedly, it's 1-1. Well, not 1-1. It's one draw, and then Tyson won one fight, and now they're supposed to be fighting for the third time. Okay, I mean, but based on the first fight, and it's been, a lot of people, including myself, believe that Tyson Fury won the first fight as well, and that it wasn't a joke. That basically, Deontay Wilder got a gift in that first fight, right, because he was a champ at the time. So I mean, this is where things are, right now, because, like I said, no one has heard from Deontay Wilder. He hasn't made a peep, not even a peep from this guy. Okay, everybody's out there, talking for him. These guys on the internet from the LDBC, they're out there, being his surrogate. Okay, speaking for Deontay Wilder, but we can't hear nothing from Deontay Wilder, so we don't know what Deontay Wilder is really thinking at this point. Okay, he hasn't said anything, except, like I said, he came out with a little video and he was talking about he's the king, your king is here, all his people, his bomb squad all over the world. The king will be back. The king never gives up. The king will rise again like the phoenix. So I guess if it was a base, listen to what he's saying in that video, then I guess he's going to come back. But we don't know when that's going to be. It doesn't seem to be this year, because, like I said, it looked like Deontay Wilder's camp keeps pushing back, the date for the fight. And they pushed it to November, then they wanted it in December, and now they're talking about February of 2021. And Tyson Fury doesn't want to wait around for that, because he wants to carry on with his career. He has a potential 2 mega fights with the unified champion Anthony Joshua in England. A history-making fight, never been done before, up for undisputed in England. And so he's looking forward, that is Tyson Fury is looking forward to that fight. And I really don't blame him. That's a big fight, big money fight. And so if I was him, I would probably do the same thing. I mean, I wouldn't wait around forever for Deontay Wilder and his camp to get their shit together, because it seems to be a lot of confusion going on in Deontay Wilder's camp at this point. I mean, he fired his trainer, Mark Breland, okay? And so we don't know who's really training Deontay Wilder at this point. Supposedly he has a new trainer in Malik Scott, who was a member of his camp anyway, but now he's been elevated to trainer, if you believe the reports out there. So we don't know what's really going on in Tyson, in Deontay's camp. We don't know if he's really training. We have seen reports that he's supposed to be in fantastic shape, but we haven't actually seen him to see what he looks like. Okay, and so we don't know what is really true or what is not true. All we know is that, based on Shelly Finkel, Deontay Wilder supposedly, well, he didn't say Deontay Wilder wanted to fight. He said the fight was going to go on. Okay, so we are not sure if Deontay Wilder really wants this fight or not. And, I think, we couldn't legitimately say that there's a question mark there, And again, like I said, based on the last fight, I mean, I can understand why if Deontay Wilder decided, to hang it up at this point, I mean, that fight was brutal, okay, and Deontay Wilder had to be saved by his corner. They had to throw the towel and, to stop him from taking, more punishment. So, I mean, at the end of the day, he hasn't made enough money in boxing at this point. I mean, he has children, fiance. Maybe he wants to stay home, relax, tired of being in and out of all these different camps, because he made mention of that. He said, he's been in and out of camps, for a good long while now. He's been fighting twice a year. You know, as soon as he get out one camp, he's back into another camp 3 months later or something like that. And he was actually enjoying his time home with his family, you know, his fiance, his children. You know, he was being catered to, and he was loving it. Basically, that's what he was saying. And you know that he talks about how, you know, boxing is crooked, and you know, he went on and on. Basically, it was a, you know, pretty. I mean, he didn't sound like a guy that was dissatisfied with the position he was in, vis-a-vis, you know, home, relaxing with his wife and his fiance and children. Because at that time, he had said that he had an injury to his bicep and he wasn't actually training. He was just home with the fiance and the kids and just enjoying himself. And I mean, I don't really blame him. I mean, you know, he's been in the boxing game for years. Maybe he decided now is the time for him to hang it up. He did make a lot of money in the last fight. Okay. So, I mean, it's not like he's hurting for money or anything. So maybe he want to stay home and enjoy himself and relax now and doesn't want to go back and, you know, I mean, go back into the ring. I mean, you know, fans, you know, and the pundits out there, they can say what they want to say. You know, they can talk all they want to talk about, you know, Deontay Wilder. They can talk for him, say that he wants to do this and he wants to do that, but they're not in there taking the punches for him. None of them is going to be in there taking the punches, you know. In that fight against, you know, Tyson Fury, I mean, it was a, you know, remember, I mean, Tyson Fury's camp had to throw in the towel. That's how bad the fight was, okay? I mean, you know, he was bleeding from his ear, you know, and, you know, usually if you're bleeding from your ear, if you get punched in the side of the head or in the ear and you're bleeding, I mean, your inner ear is what, you know, maintains your balance, okay? So if he had damaged his inner ear in that, you know, one of those punches that Tyson Fury gave him, maybe that's one of the reasons why he couldn't really stand up. He couldn't stay up on his feet, and he kept getting knocked down. So, you know, I think is at the end of the day, even though in the moment at the fight he criticized, you know, he asked you know why he did that, and you know, subsequently he has, you know, made it known that he didn't like the fact that Mark Breland threw the tower. But at the end of the day, you know, Mark Breland probably saved his life. So I mean, you know, now he has fired Mark Breland since that incident, and like I said, he has a new trainer now. But I mean, I wouldn't have fired Mark Breland because Mark Breland, like I said, probably saved his life. He would have gotten worse damage and probably would have been sent into retirement if that fight would have continued, you know, taking its full course. So this is where we at right now with Deontay Wilder. I'm thinking that maybe Deontay Wilder, you know, has decided that he's done with boxing and he's not going to fight anymore. I mean, I'm just speculating. I don't know if that's the case. But based on the fact that he's not really saying much, he hasn't come out aggressively and said, yeah, I want this fight in December and the fight is going to be, you know. I mean, it's not like he's not ready for the fight, I don't think, because he's been training, you know, since supposedly he recovered from his injury. And now that article that came out in September that said that he was in fantastic shape and, you know, he was ready to go. And, you know, that was a month ago. So if he was ready to go a month ago, I don't understand why they're pushing, you know, his camp is pushing for delay the fight until February and you know, not have the fight in December. I'm not sure, you know, what that's all about. And I don't see why this fight should be delayed anymore. But again, we don't know what's going on because Deontay Wilder is not coming out and saying anything. You know, he's not saying that he wants to fight. He's not saying that he's ready for the fight. He's not even saying that he wants to fight in February. He's not saying anything at all. But nobody really knows what Deontay Wilder really wants. I mean, we just hear from his manager, Shelly Finkel, and we don't get much from him. So at this point, it's a mystery as to what's really going on in the Deontay Wilder camp. And it looked like, you know, Tyson Fury, instead of going through all the drama and all of this and that, he decided that, you know, he's going to move on and get himself ready for the fight with the mega fight with Anthony Joshua in 2021. And like I said, I don't really blame him for that. I mean, it looks like Deontay doesn't really want to fight, okay? And so a mega fight with Anthony Joshua looks very good at this point. Okay. And maybe Deontay Wilder, might decide sometime in the near future that, he's had enough recuperation from the fight, the brutal beating that he got, and maybe he might decide that he want to come back again. But he's gonna have to, he's probably gonna have to fight a couple of fights first before he gets another shot at Tyson Fury, if Tyson Fury is still a champion, because the fight again, the fight that's coming up with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua might win those fights. Okay, I mean, and so Joshua might be champion, and then if Deontay decides to come back, he'll probably come back to try and get a shot at Deontay at Anthony Joshua. And quiet as kept, maybe that's his plan. Okay, maybe he has decided that a fight with Anthony Joshua would be an easier road than a fight, with Tyson Fury, based on what Tyson Fury has done to him in the second fight. And maybe he decided he don't want to face Tyson Fury right now. Let Joshua do the heavy lifting, okay, soften up Tyson Fury, and then he might get a shot at Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. And maybe he decided that he really wants a shot at Anthony Joshua instead of Tyson Fury. Maybe he thinks that's the easier road, okay? So we don't know. But like I said, he's been pretty silent ever since he got that beaten by Tyson Fury, and that's kind of suspect. And we don't know what mental condition he's in. If he's mentally up for the rematch, he might, at the end of the day, maybe Tyson broke Deontay Wilder. Maybe Deontay Wilder is a broken man at this point. Okay, we can't really know, and we can't assess it because we haven't really seen much of him, so we can't really tell. We can only speculate. So maybe Tyson Fury broke Deontay Wilder and sent him into retirement. Okay, that could be the case. Because we haven't heard from Deontay Wilder at all. Okay, so I mean, I've seen situations where fighters have lost fight, and I've been like quiet for a while and just kind of going to themselves, and but I've never seen anything like this where a year later or over a year later, a fighter, a fight of that magnitude where you lost your title, and then a year later you're still not saying anything, you just quiet, and then you basically, because all right, according to Tyson Fury, the rematch clause has expired. Okay, this is what is going on. Okay, he's saying that the rematch clause expired, and that he wants to continue fighting. He doesn't want to wait on the rematch, because basically he's saying that Deontay Wilder's camp is delaying the fight. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, if this is the case, if Deontay Wilder's camp has let this rematch clause expire, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, you think that his manager and his camp and his team wouldn't let that happen? I mean, why would that happen? How could the rematch clause expire if that's the case? Okay, I mean, I don't know what's on the rematch clause. I didn't see the contract, but this is what Tyson Fury is saying. So, I mean, I'm sure Tyson Fury wouldn't say that unless it was, true. I mean, it wouldn't be, I find it benefit to him to not take the fight and end up getting into any kind of legal, ramification due to him, not honoring a rematch clause. So if he's saying that the rematch clause expired, then I would take him at his word. I mean, that it's expired or it's soon to expire. Okay, because there's no date for a fight, except they were talking about on December 19th, when it looked like that's not going to happen. So how could Deontay Wilder's camp let this happen? How could they let this rematch clause expire? How could Deontay let that happen? I mean, if that's really true, then there's no doubt that Deontay Wilder didn't want this rematch. Okay, if he let the rematch clause expire, that means he didn't actually want to fight. But he didn't want to come out and say he don't want to fight. He just let the rematch clause expire. Okay, so I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people out there talking and saying all kind of things that they're expecting Tyson Fury to wait forever, you know, to whenever Deontay Wilder decides that he wants to fight. I mean, I don't see it. That doesn't make any sense. Why should he do that? Okay, according to him, according to Tyson Fury, he's already, you know, extended the fight twice, and so he's not willing to do it for a third time. And I mean, that's fair. I don't think, you know, there's anything wrong with that. I mean, how people are accusing him of ducking Deontay Wilder when Deontay Wilder doesn't want to get in the ring in December and fight. Tyson Fury is saying that he wants to fight in December and he doesn't care who he's fighting. Okay, whether it's Deontay Wilder or somebody else, if Deontay Wilder doesn't want to fight. Okay, so it is what it is, man. They want, and they can say what they want, but at the end of the day, they're not the one in there getting punched in the face. Okay, so they can say, you know, they can say whatever. Okay, like I said, maybe Deontay Wilder decide that he's done with this boxing game. Maybe Tyson Fury sent him into retirement, and you know, he's sitting home and relaxing and, you know, and chilling, and you know, let the fans, you know, go out there and say talk all the shit they want to talk. Okay, but so I mean, if Deontay Wilder, if Tyson Fury decide to fight Joshua in 2021, I mean, that's gonna be a big fight. I'm looking forward to that fight. I mean, at the end of the day, man, we gotta admit that, you know, Deontay Wilder didn't really do a very good job in the second fight. You know, he barely escaped the first fight, and he did a terrible job in the second fight. He lost the fight in brutal fashion. So, I mean, what is there really to see in a third fight? Okay? I mean, he had a chance to knock out, you know, Tyson Fury in the first fight, because when Tyson Fury came back for that first fight, he wasn't nowhere near in shape. Okay? But, you know, he still was able to eke out a draw. And some will say he actually won the fight. So if Deontay Wilder couldn't knock out Tyson Fury in the first fight, got stopped in brutal fashion in the second fight, what are these people out there saying that Deontay Wilder is going to punch his chance? What are they looking at? I mean, what are they seeing that I'm not seeing? Okay, because his best chance to knock out Tyson Fury was the first fight, and he didn't do that. Okay, that was his best chance because that's when Tyson was in the worst shape. The second fight, we saw that he had no chance whatsoever. Didn't win a round. Okay, got knocked out. Had to be saved by his corner. So what is it that we expect to see in his third fight that we didn't see in the first or the second fight? I don't think there's nothing that we're going to see different, really. I mean, anything could happen in a fight, but you gotta look at the odds. You know, I mean, based on what we've seen in the first two fights, the odds are saying that the only thing that's going to happen in the third fight is he's going to get knocked out again. Okay, I mean, that's what I would think, and I'm, you know, maybe that's what Deontay thinks too, which is why, you know, he's not saying much right now. I mean, basically, Deontay got knocked into silence. Okay, Tyson Fury beat him into silence, and so he's as quiet as a church mouse. He's not saying anything. Okay, he's not coming out and saying he wants to fight. He's not coming out and saying anything. He doesn't say he wants to fight in December. He's not saying he wants to fight in February. He's not saying he wants to fight at all. So maybe he doesn't want to fight Tyson Fury again ever. Okay, like I said, if that's the case, I definitely wouldn't blame him because he took a brutal beating in that last fight. And why go through that again? Okay, well, you know, he's not from the pool. You know, Tyson Fury was the better man that night, and that's the way, you know, it's gonna go down. So he might as well, you know. He might as well just go ahead. If he's decided he's going to come back to boxing, then he should just go ahead, keep training, change his style, work on his boxing technique, pick up some more skills, and then come back in there at the end of 2021, you know, around there sometime in 2021, fight, you know, some tune-up fight, and or maybe, you know, fight a contender, and then, you know, so he can test out his new technique, and then try to get a fight with Tyson Fury, you know, maybe in early 2022. I don't think, you know, Tyson Fury would wanna deny him that, because I mean, that's if Tyson Fury, beats Anthony Joshua. I mean, however he beats Anthony Joshua or not, they could still fight. It doesn't really matter. Okay, because people would want to see what's going to happen in the third fight, whether they're champions or not. That still would be a big fight. Okay, so that's probably the best course for Deontay Wilder, to just go ahead and keep training, working on his craft. Okay, and develop some more skills, and then come back later if that's what he decides. If he decides that he's going to stay in boxing, but it could very well be that he decides that he's going to retire, and maybe he might. He's waiting to make the announcement of of his retirement. We don't know, but and that's how I'm looking at it at this point. Okay, so if AJ Anthony Joshua gets past Pulev, then him and Fury is gonna fight in 2021. Okay, 2 fights, and that's going to be huge. If at this point, the heavyweight belts, all of them are in England, are in Europe. Okay, they have been, they basically came over here and snatched the belts from America. Okay, and so all the belts are now, the major belts, all the belts are basically in European hands right now. So we don't know when we're going to get those belts back, because I don't see anybody on the horizon, American heavyweight, that's gonna go over there and take that belt from Joshua, or even take the WBC belt from Tyson Fury. So this is why these 2 guys are fighting, and these are 2 good guys. So whoever wins the fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is gonna be the #1 heavyweight in the world. Okay, that's clear. Okay, and so I doubt that anybody else out there, will be able to beat that fighter. Okay, we know that Deontay Wilder can't beat Tyson Fury because it's been proven. Tyson Fury has stopped him already. So, if Anthony Joshua beats Tyson Fury, and then Deontay Wilder decides he wants to take a shot at Anthony Joshua, I don't know what good that's going to do him, because if AJ beats Fury, then he probably beat Wilder as well. Okay, and I tend to think that he probably beat Wilder, because Wilder, just depends on that one right hand punch. Okay, and that's not good. That's what got him, beat up against Fury. So, but then again, we can't really say for sure, because style make fights. Okay, and so it's conceivable that even though Deontay lost to Fury, he could possibly beat Joshua in a fight, but I don't think that's the case. I think, if anything, Joshua will probably knock him out even quicker than Fury did. Okay, so we don't know, but we don't know. So anything is possible. Okay, but for all intents and purposes, it looks like the trilogy between between Fury and Wilder is off at this point, and we don't know when it's going to be scheduled again, if ever. Okay, and so this is where we're at right now. So right at this point, based on everything that Fury has said, the ball is in Deontay Wilder's court. They got to decide, if they want to fight in December, they'd have to try and, salvage this fight, because as I stated previously, Fury has said that he's moving on. He's not waiting any longer. He's ready to move on. So we don't know what's coming out of Deontay's camp again. Like I said, basically Fury has said that they asked for an extension for February, and he's not willing to grant that. And he's the A side. He is the champion now. So, it's not like Deontay Wilder can, decide when the fight is going to be. How does he get that? He doesn't have that type of authority at this point. He's the B side. So, and if Tyson has given him 2 extensions already, he doesn't. Why would he need a third? Okay, he should be ready by now. This fight was supposed to be in July. So he's had plenty of time to change, and not only he's had plenty of time to change his fighting style. You know, he's had months. He could, you know, he had plenty of time to train, and so there should be no reason why the fight is not happening in December. Okay, except for the fact that there won't be a crowd. But everybody's fighting without a crowd nowadays. Okay, you know, so I don't know, but you know, that's what's going on right now with this fight with Tyson Fury. And it's possible, like I said, that Tyson Fury has broken Deontay Wilder, and it's possible he might, you know, have sent Deontay Wilder into retirement for all intents and purposes, because ever since he lost the fight, Deontay Wilder has been incommunicado. Nobody has heard from him basically, and you know, I mean, I'm not sure what that's all about. You know, it doesn't make any sense, but you know, it is what it is, and so you know, I think that we need now to, you know, we have to now look forward to a great fight between Joshua and Fury, and you know, I'm not sure now in a fight between Joshua and Fury, that should be very interesting. Okay, I mean, I haven't seen Joshua fight since the Ruiz fight, the second Ruiz fight, when he changed his whole style, and nobody has seen him fight since that fight. And so at that fight, he was a boxer. He was doing a boxing style. Maybe that has developed even better than you know, better now than it was back then. But he did a great job against Ruiz. But at the end of the day, you know, that's not a style that he is, you know, honed, you know, like, you know, sharpened. You know, when I say honed, I'm talking about sharpened over the years. I mean, he just did that like what, 2 years? It's almost 2 years now. So, you know, it's a new technique or a new style that he's working with. So we don't know how good he is at that style. Okay, I mean, we know that Tyson Fury has been a boxer his whole career. So in terms of boxing technique, you know, I would venture to say that Tyson Fury is a better boxer than Anthony Joshua. Okay? I mean, he's a naturally better boxer than Anthony Joshua, because he's been doing that, he's been fighting that same style his whole life. Okay, so I would, you know, Joshua is more of a boxer puncher, and he basically switched his style recently to make some adjustments after he lost to Ruiz in the first fight. So, but then again, if he's a boxer puncher, he definitely has a boxer puncher's chance against Tyson Fury. You know, the chance that Deontay Wilder was supposed to have. But the problem with Deontay Wilder was that Deontay Wilder only had one punch, the right hand. And, you know, you can see that punch coming a mile away. And, you know, if you watch the fight with him and Fury, you can see Fury timing him and, you know, slipping that punch time after time after time after time. Because Deontay Wilder, it basically telegraphs his punch, okay, the right hand. Now, Anthony Joshua is more of a boxer puncher, so he's going to put punches together, combination. Okay, we saw the fight with him and Klitschko, where he knocked Klitschko out. So, you know, I think that he would serve, I think Anthony Joshua would give Tyson Fury more problems and more looks than Deontay Wilder could, okay? Because Deontay Wilder is more one-dimensional than anything. As we can see from Anthony Joshua, he's more versatile. He can punch, he can box, and he has a repertoire of punches, you know, that he can bring to bear in the fight against Fury. I mean, you know, like uppercuts, hooks, right hand. So he got it all basically, but it's just that he's not as slick in terms of boxing as Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is a very slick boxer for such a big guy. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Tyson Fury fight. Okay, I saw this. I look and I saw this guy, this big, huge, doofus-looking guy. I'm saying, this guy's a boxer. He looks like some. I mean, he's, you know, huge, and he looks awkward and clumsy. Okay, I mean, if you just look at him, okay, just look at him. He looked like a clumsy-looking guy. But then, you know, once the fight started and he started moving, I was like, whoa, I mean, he's moving, but he's still looking kind of awkward, you know. But then I saw him slipping punches, making all these slick moves, you know, fighting like he was a welterweight. I mean, I was like, wow, this guy is pretty good. Okay, and you know, he is good. I mean, the guy has great boxing technique. You know, you can't take that away from him. Okay, he doesn't get hit a lot. Okay, he slips a lot of punches. Okay, and he's great. So he's great when it comes to pure boxing skill. So I'm thinking that he would probably give Anthony Joshua some trouble in that sense, because I think he would probably outbox Joshua. Joshua would have to go in there and rough it up, put some combination together and take the fight to Fury. But then again, we don't know what style Joshua is operating on nowadays, and so maybe he might go in there. We're gonna know after the Pulev fight, the Kubrat Pulev fight. We're gonna see where Joshua really is. If he actually get, he might not even get past Pulev. We don't know. So we have to wait and see what this new Joshua is looking like, and then we'll be able to gauge, where he stands vis-a-vis a fight with Tyson Fury. Okay, but I'm definitely looking forward for this fight between Joshua and Fury, and I'm sure all of the Europeans, including all of England, including all of Europe, are looking forward for that fight. It's going to be a huge fight in Europe, man. It's going to be a big fight, huge fight. Now, me personally, even though Deontay Wilder lost the fight against, in brutal fashion against Tyson Fury, the second fight, I wouldn't mind watching the third fight. I mean, maybe I would like to see the third fight if Deontay Wilder has made an adjustment, okay, since that second fight. Maybe he has made some adjustments and he can go in there and put up a good fight. But like I've always said, that if Anthony Joshua, if Deontay Wilder would improve his boxing skills, really develop a good technique, nobody could beat him, because he got that equalizing punching power. And so imagine if Deontay Wilder could put punches together like Anthony Joshua, or like, say, Tyson Fury, with all that power that he has in his hand. I mean, he'd be unbeatable. I really believe that. Okay, I really believe that if Deontay Wilder would develop his skills as a boxer, he could be a force to reckon with, in the heavyweight division. I think nobody will be able to beat him with all that power and the boxing skills of Tyson Fury. I mean, he'd be unbeatable. I mean, that's just the way I see it. But we don't know if he's willing to take that. To go that route, I mean, it's going to take hard work and dedication. And who knows if he's hungry enough to be able to, go that way. Okay, we don't know. I mean, he might, he might, like I said, he might have, he might be retiring. Okay, he might decide that keep it moving. He has made enough money now, and so he doesn't really need to box anymore, I don't think. And I think he got enough money to retire if he wanted to retire. Okay, and so maybe that's what he's considering. Maybe he's considering retiring, and so we're not going to see him fight again. If he doesn't fight again, I mean, that would be a shame. But I wouldn't blame him, really. Okay, I mean, he did what he had to do in the boxing game, and so it is what it is. I don't know, but like I said, if he would decide to come back, I would love to see the third fight. I want to see what kind of adjustments he made, if any, at all, and see, if there will be a different outcome. If he made adjustments, like I said, and be able to put punches together, he would give Fury a difficult fight, because he got the power. But we don't know. As far as we know at this point, it looks like Deontay Wilder is probably not going to come back, not going to fight in December. That's for sure. And it looks like he might, be retiring. I mean, he wouldn't be the first person to retire after a brutal beating like the one he got against Fury. So, it is what it is. But if he decides to stay around and fight again, I would love to see the third fight. Okay, I think it'd be interesting to see what he has learned, if he has, correct any of the glaring deficiencies he had in his fight game. Okay, and so I would love to see a third fight, but it looks like we're not going to have it, because I don't think Deontay Wilder really wants it. Okay, so quickly after that beating, and can't really blame him. Okay, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I think that's all I have for right now. I'm gonna leave it there. This is TB Boxing. I'm out.